Hello, Laura. Welcome to Coffee Talk, everyone.
Hi, Ree. How are you today?
I'm really doing well. I'm ready for a new year of dance, ready for, I don't know, this energy that comes at this time of the year. Did
Yeah.
you start?
I started 2 Saturdays ago. Um, and it's interesting. We're in season 14, and this was the first Saturday that I am not teaching on a Saturday in like 20 something years. I figured it out. I'm showing my age. 20 something years, I'm not working on a Saturday, which I cannot believe. It's like amazing. Ree froze. Yeah, so we're in season 14 at Libra, which I'm super excited about. And I've always taught the babies on Saturday mornings, but this is the first Saturday that I am not teaching the babies. So it was interesting being there and not teaching, but kind of walking around and managing and welcoming everyone. And yeah, it was a very kind of surreal situation, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it was really good. Welcome back, Ree. I was just telling everybody that,
I've been, I've been hearing you. I don't know what's wrong with my camera, but I've decided to go with the not so good camera. Excuse me, everybody who is watching. I think we'll be safer this way.
cool.
So, Laura, did you make it a choice not to do Saturdays, or did it just land that way?
No, so I actually there was multiple reasons why I made this decision. One was I always wanted to not work on Saturdays. I wanted to have a normal weekend, right? My weekends was just Sunday for a long time. So I wanted to have that normalcy. And now I have my son every other weekend. So what was the mom life kind of changed and that situation changed. So now I have Cole every other weekend and he's now playing sports. He plays soccer on Saturday
Oh,
morning. So this past Saturday was the second Saturday the studio was open and I texting everyone like, make sure this is happening, make sure that is happening. But then I stood on the side of the soccer field and I literally said, I made it. Like this is where I wanted to be when my son was 4. He's gonna be 4 on Sunday. When my son starts playing whatever he does, he dances, he sports, whatever. But I didn't want to miss it. So I didn't miss it, which was really cool.
good for you. And those of you that are listening either today or on demand in the future, know that you can make yourself a priority within this studio life that we all live and are so dedicated to.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something that more studio owners and teachers need to be aware of. Don't miss life's moments in pursuit of success. Balance both, and then you will feel like a success.
Yeah.
You agree?
Oh, 100%. And I do want to say too, because I feel like sometimes people hear that and they're like, oh, that could never happen. It took me 14 seasons to get here. This wasn't like year 3. This wasn't year 8. This wasn't year 10. Like it took me 14 years to get here, right? To be able to be like, okay, now I have the right staff, the right people there. So it didn't happen overnight. So if you feel like, oh, I'll never get there, you'll get there. It didn't happen overnight for me either. It just was always my long-term goal. It was always a long-term goal to be able to have that flexibility. And it's funny, I when I went to one of my mentors, actually Stacey Morgan, she said to me, this is just for this season of your life. If you miss those Saturday babies when Cole's 6 or 10 or 12, they're always there. You can go back. You can always go back. And I was like, it almost like calmed me because I kind of was like, oh, once you're off Saturdays, you're off. Like, no, it's your studio. You want to put yourself back in there, you can.
I got one question that I bet some of our viewers will be thinking.
Mhm.
How did the parents accept that you weren't teaching their children? And did you worry about that?
Yes, I did worry about that. That was the one reason I think why it took me so long to do it. When I first opened Libra, I taught all the babies because my mentality was I wanted to connect with all those families. And then if they went off to other teachers, they still had that core connection with me from when they were little. Um, but it's interesting. I had a co-teacher for 2 years on Saturdays. So I think the parents kind of knew I was going to transition out. This wasn't like I'm off the schedule. It's like now Miss Maria is stepping into the the main teacher. And then actually for the past, it was like maybe 3 months or 2 months of last season, I brought in another co-teacher. So there was 3 of us in the room for my classes on Saturday mornings. I had an alumni who graduated, and she was going to be stepping into the co-teaching position. So money-wise, it was costly, but it made such a big impact on my people because the littles took to the third teacher in the room. You know what I mean? Like if they already knew everyone. And did it cost me a couple $100 or $1,000? Sure, but my enrollment didn't suffer come the fall because they recognized everyone's names who was listed on Saturdays. So
you were investing in the future.
Yes, and it was amazing because even just knowing that I have 3 adults in that building in classrooms plus assistant teachers, it was just I didn't go in on Saturday and I didn't feel like I had to be there. I knew that they could handle it, and I got a good text message from everyone at the end, and it was great. That was success. That was like
good for you. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
And I know how much Cole means to you and how important being a part of his life is for you. For you to be in the place you're in, you need to pat yourself on the back. You've done good.
And same to you. You've had a lot going on in your life.
Yeah. Right now, I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in a high-rise hotel in my 1-bedroom. I guess you call it a suite. It's got a kitchen. I love this spot right here, right now.
Well, like we're both moving into different chapters now, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm loving the freewheeling life, not having responsibility. And realizing, I know this is going to sound, corny, whatever, how little I need.
Yeah, I'm sure like once you realize that, you're like, God, I have so much junk.
Yes. I had a car full of junk that I spent time in the Charlotte area, and I got rid of half the stuff that was in my car. Now I have half empty car, and it's all I need.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel very light.
Go ahead.
I said, I'm sure you feel very light, like just with life in general now, that pressure of all of that, like
almost like I'm cheating. Almost like I'm cheating somehow. Like, is this not supposed to be this way?
No, I think because you were so used to that hustle or bustle of it all. And now it's just like a different.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a great show. We have husband and wife teams, 3 different kinds of husband and wife teams, all related to the dance education field. I'm excited to bring them on. While we do that, I'm going to run a commercial for the 2025 DanceLife Teacher Conference. We'll see you all on the other side. "2025, I can't believe we're talking about it. Welcome, my guests. Nice to see you all. I'm going to start by asking you each to just tell our audience a little bit about yourselves and where your studio is located. Ashley and Chris, I'd like to start with you.
Again, we are Ashley and Chris Litwin. We are located in Wilmington, Delaware, and we are the proud owners of the oldest school in our state, which is the Anna Marie Dance Studio, and we're celebrating year 73. We look great for our age. So Anna Marie Leo is my aunt and our founder, and so yeah, we're in Delaware. We love it. Having a good time kicking off the year.
Awesome. How about you, Muffy and Wayne Hoover?
Hey, we're Wayne and Muffy from Virginia. We have 2 locations in the northeastern part of Virginia. One is southeastern. Look, I don't know where we live. But
that's why you're a husband and wife team,
yes,
right? Yeah,
yes.
that was it
logistics.
exactly.
So we can get to that next, but he's the logistics guy. We have a music only studio in Virginia Beach, and in Chesapeake we have a complete performing arts center where we do music, dance, and musical theater productions.
Very cool. Tommy and Becca Redder, tell us a little bit about you guys.
Hi. Yes, we live in the Charlotte area, and we teach at Miller Street. Michelle Soutier is the owner. And then we also have Redder Entertainment. We produce workshops. We create teacher resources. And yeah, we just have fun teaching the kids.
Awesome. I want to start with you, Ashley and Chris. Your circumstances are, Ashley, you're the director of the school. Chris has his own job, but is also very much involved in the success of your school. How does that work for you two?
It works. That's new. Just kidding. This Chris says this is his what's it? Your 5 to 9. So he goes 9 to 5 for his like real job, and then he is 5 to 9 with us. We make it work. We've got 3 kids. It's busy, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, we're in it together, right? You know, it's our family, it's our life. You know, our success through the studio affects all of us as a family. So it's important to me to make sure that not only is the studio successful, but I'm also successful in my own career. So, you know, there's never been any other way to think about it other than the both of us making sure that we're both successful in our own careers to do what we would like as a family.
And this is really all we've ever known because we've been together for like 22 years. So before I was an owner, I was a dancer and a student and I was teaching. So I just think honestly, like when he met me, these were the dynamics and it's just only gotten worse for him. So
you married a dance school. How
did
that?
Those are the fine print.
Most important for those husbands out there that might not know the dance industry all that well, it is a lifestyle. And as soon as you understand that and accept that and embrace it, you can really sit back and enjoy it and, you know, celebrate not only the small victories, but the big ones as well.
Chris, that's a really great mentality to have because I feel like, and I'm sure you'll probably hear it with the rest of the couples too, being in an entrepreneurial position, it's like you need to have a partner who gets it or it doesn't work. Like it's very simple because this dance, like you're saying, it's a lifestyle. This isn't like owning any other, in my eyes, any other business. This is an after school 9 to 5 when it's open and or during the day, and then Saturdays, and then competition weekends, and then you're running a show, and then you have summer camps. Like it's not normal. You're right. It's a completely different lifestyle. It really is.
How about you, Muffy and Wayne? Tell me about your roles. Tell me if I'm off on this. Is it Wayne who handles the musical theater and acting, and Muffy, you handle the dance, or am I off on that? And it's okay if I'm off. You won't embarrass.
Well, actually, the studio started when I started 27 years ago. It was just music. We did just music lessons, and we started in Chesapeake. And then Muffy, I married 17 years ago. And at that point, we expanded into the Virginia Beach location. And as we progressed, I was always wanted to add dance and theater and everything because I've got a background. I used to work with the Virginia Opera when I was younger, and I was in state crew and I did productions in high schools and different things. So I wanted to expand in this. And Muffy was like, well, I used to dance when I was younger. And we just got into it and got an opportunity to move to a larger studio. And 14 years ago, we moved to this studio here and was able to start offering dance. So Muffy does more of the dance and I do more of the administrative and musical stuff. But collectively, we're both doing theater because Muffy was also big into theater and different things growing up. But go ahead and chime in there too.
Well, as everybody knows, as a studio owner, you wear all the hats.
Yeah.
But we do kind of try to divide and conquer. The biggest joke was when we opened the second location with the staff was that he opened that store to get rid of me so I could run it the way I wanted to. But then when we moved to our larger location, I kind of took over the dance department. But it's we do kind of try to split the roles a little bit. Wayne is the numbers guy, I like to say, but I can look at it and handle it. But we do kind of try to divide some of that stuff. I do more of the scheduling and the admin side with the actual staff. But we also try to separate ourselves in the sense of he's at the Virginia Beach store more than I'm at the Virginia Beach store. And we try to switch days so that sometimes when we get home at the end of the day, we can say like, hey, how was your day?
Yeah.
Instead of, can you believe that storm that we just, weathered together? But so we compare notes for sure on what happens at each location.
Okay, 2 locations separating you two. That's one of your secrets we'll take with us today. Tommy and Becca, your situation is also unique. Tell us about how it works for you guys.
Beck?
How does it work for us? Well, I don't know. We do it's dance 24/7 around here. I feel like when we get home, we're talking about some of the same kids, different kids, comparing notes, getting ideas from each other, on how to and what to teach, or if I know I'm going to have one of his classes of kids that he's got to teach choreography to, I'll be okay. Well, I've got the technique class. What do you want them to be learning?
We did that a couple days ago.
He was very, very happy. I think. How did rehearsal go?
Leap, toe, hop, step. They're awesome.
Yeah. So, there's definitely a benefit to that. And like last year, we're assigned songs for the recital, and you'll have multiple classes because there's multiple shows going on, and we both had the same 7 to 9 jazz hip hop class. And he's like, what are you doing with your kids on this part?
She gave me star.
I gave him some steps.
She gave me star jump in
Yeah.
a row. And guess what? It was excellent.
Yeah. Because my expertise tends to be more towards the younger students. And his is usually more towards the older, more advanced kids, although he can do it all too. So yeah, I guess that's what we got going on.
I want to ask our viewers to check in with us in the comments. Let us know where you're from. Let us know if you have any questions you'd like to ask our guests. So I'm going to reverse and start with you, Tommy and Becca. Tell me what you do to turn off dance, if you do.
All right, here it is. So I sometimes imagine people saying, why doesn't he get a life behind my back? And I'm thinking to myself, I've worked my whole life for this life. I love this life.
Wow.
This is my life. I come home from work and I tell my wife, oh my God, honey, this one child gives me so much happiness. I mean, there's just so much about being a dance teacher that gives me joy. I don't believe I turn it off.
He doesn't turn it
I
off.
don't turn
very
it
much.
off.
I turn it off.
I
But
don't turn it off.
It's okay. So wait, Becca, how do you turn it off, and how do you make it so that it's turned off on you?
I go to another room in the house.
And Tommy, do you just continue to talk about what's happening?
I mean, come on. They fill me with so much joy.
Well,
What am I
he's
supposed to do?
also- He's very good at multitasking. So he can be working on something and have like the TV on in the background and editing music at the same time.
And listening to news on my headphones.
Yeah, he
all at the same time.
so
Anyways, but an interesting thing happened this year, and that is that I got a lot of lower level classes, and I wasn't sure what to think about it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And you know what these lower level classes are turning into very quickly? Upper level classes. I just absolutely love it. And the thing is, you get immediate results from the kids who are not as talented. You go from 0 to 20 like really, really, really quick. And predominantly I teach tap dancing, and a big difference between tap and most other dance forms is you can fast track tap. You can get a kid good in tap dancing quickly. Anyways, and that's why they make me so happy. And one of the things that Michelle Soutier, our boss and dear friend, and you guys, if anybody ever gets the chance to get her ear, tell her what you need to tell her, and then listen to all of the gold that's going to come out of her mouth. You guys, she is so brilliant. Anyways, but this past summer, she said to me, Tommy, we're going to have you do the kids camps. And I'm thinking, with all those babies, that's not going to work. But she said, no, you just need to trust me. You need to. So there I am at Barbie camp. Barbie girl. Blah, blah.
By the way, they all loved Mr. Tommy.
Well, anyways, but so guess what ended up happening? So then after the summer, the new classes start, and guess who magically is in a bunch of my classes? All of these kids that Mr. Tommy was being super silly with over the summer. And so afterwards, I was thinking to myself, you know what? She was right. You know what? Just listen to her for now on, because she's going to get it right. Anyway, so once again, the kids bring me happiness.
I admire your passion, Tommy. So, Muffy and Wayne, tell me what you do to turn it off. I'm laughing because I kind of know you guys, and I get the feeling you don't turn it off. But do tell us something.
We try, but all roads lead back to the like, we'll even try to be like, okay, we're going to talk about sets, or we're going to talk about costumes for this, but we're not going to talk about music and dance. And then something will happen, and it always sucks us back in to whatever else. But it's we try to schedule it and set a timer, but that also doesn't work. Just because I personally, I'm not a doctor, but I have self-diagnosed myself with ADD. So like, there's usually a conversation that happens that sucks me back into like, oh, but about those elf shoes, because like we're working on elf right now, but like, I always get back to it. But like, even on Valentine's Day, we went out to dinner and we were like, okay, we're not talking about it. And guess what? Our server was a former student, and all they wanted to talk about was how great the studio was. So like, we were like, okay, it's just a sign from God. But go ahead, Wayne. How do you turn it?
I mean, basically, as entrepreneurs and owners, we all do the same thing. We have actually gone in, just like she said, and we're going to go to dinner. We're going to sit down, and we're not going to talk about the studio. Within a couple of moments, something will come up, or she may or I may go, oh, just one real quick thing before I forget it. This. And then all of a sudden it turns into 20 minutes. And then our food comes. So it is our life. But this is what we do. Because, it's just like Tommy was saying and everything else. We enjoy what we do. We're teaching the kids. We like to see the expression, the joy of the students. I teach music lessons. And when that light bulb comes on, it's like, yes, they finally got this. You're teaching the same things over and over again. And then eventually they go, oh, you mean I can do this in this song too? Yes. And it comes together. And it's no different with dance. I can use this step in this dance song. I can, it's just continuates itself. So,
So I guess the short answer, Ree, is we don't actually ever turn it off. I mean, because a few weeks ago, we were having an in-depth situation, and we went to bed. And at 4:00 in the morning, I'm like, "Hey, are you awake?"
No. Y'all didn't get this. Wait, you awake?
It was a brilliant idea. Like,
Get it off your chest, guys. Get it off.
We actually got to start working on something.
At 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, it was a really good session, but it could have came at 6:00. But like, but I don't think anybody else would get it. So like we couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like no other partner would be able to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with this brilliant idea. But we'll see if it comes to magic. I'm excited.
Awesome. And you'll never forget that morning. Ashley and Chris, tell me how you turn it off. Did you see that Anna Marie is here with us this morning?
Yeah, she texted me this morning. She was like, I need to know, is it this week or next week?
Oh.
So
And
for
talking
those
about
who
the
are
ultimate power
listening,
couple, right? You know, Anna Marie and her husband, you know, Uncle Bill, love them to death. You know, I learned from him, right? You know, and we're modeling ourselves after them and continuing this on. But certainly, how do we turn it off? You know, it's difficult, just as everyone else has said. You know, a lot of the times, you know, you're just 24/7 thinking about the business and just thinking about how to progress things, you know, but it's really just understanding, again, back to the aforementioned lifestyle and understanding, you know, when to talk about it, how to talk about it. You know, there's definitely times where I'll get conversations going where she's just like, not right now. You know, it's been a long day. You know, I'm home. You know, we need to table this for later, and it's respecting those boundaries. And it goes the opposite way as well. So, you know, understanding, you know, that it is a balance, but we more or less call it a blend. Some nights we'll be up until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night working together. Other nights she'll be working late. I'll be working late. It's understanding that that's what it takes and that's what it needs, and supporting each other when those moments come. But also, you know, when there's time to shut it down and just have us time, you know, whether it be going out or attending kids' events, you know, we really do try to just shut it off and pay attention to either each other or pay attention to the kids, you know, and enjoy those moments because we know that the other end of that blend is we're all in 100% and working our tails off to be able to accomplish what we need to do so we can allow ourselves that free time to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, I think we do definitely put some boundaries in place just because number one, we have 3 kids and our boys are heavily invested in travel ice hockey and our daughter is a dancer, but I never want dance to be shoved down their throats. Like they're getting it all the time. And so we really try when it's, you know, we're doing something else outside of the studio to really like table it for the kids. And then, you know, the uniqueness about us compared to the other couples is Chris married into this. He didn't know the first thing about dance. And so, you know, he kind of has this endless reservoir and being an entrepreneur of like wanting to talk about it or ask me questions to better it. Like he's so all in, but, you know, living it 24/7 since the age of like conception, I sometimes just need that mental break. And when I come home, I'm usually the one telling him like, okay, love your ideas, love the ambition, but like if we could just save that because my brain is at capacity. It's usually me telling him to stop because, you know, he's got other things. And so I like to hear about his day too that's outside of dance.
That's awesome. This kind of brought up a topic that I would like to ask each of you about. Those of you that have children, how does that dynamic, how do you, like Ashley and Chris, you have 3. So what is that dynamic with running such a massive business, Chris having a career, you, and then also being involved in the dance studio, you running the dance studio, plus teaching still, and then all of like, how is that, I mean, I feel like we talked about the work-life balance, but how's that work-life children balance with all of you? How does that work?
We're currently taking applications for a sister wife because we literally, it is
a
really
great opening coffee talk right here.
We are now accepting applications. No, seriously, it is just like we divide and conquer a lot. Even Chris just was saying recently, as recent as yesterday, is don't feel like because Hazley has rehearsal, you have to be the one that takes her. Like, don't forget, like if you want to shuffle around to make sure you make it to a hockey game, we literally will sit down a week at a time and be like, where were we? And which one of us was with which kid last week? And so we can apply ourselves to equal over the kids.
Yeah, and it's extremely important to us. You know, really, I look at myself as I think Wayne has said, a logistics coordinator. You know, every given week, you know, we're laying and mapping out. We lean on friends and family sometimes to ensure that, you know, we're able to go to the kids' events. But we keep it extremely, I would say, real with our children. We give them a vision of this is how life really is. And, it's not always a standard schedule day to day. So it's how do we try to prepare them for the future and prepare them for life. So we're extremely real with them as far as our schedule goes. And sometimes that means we're dragging them along various places, or they might get stuck at the studio, or they might get stuck at a hockey rink for a little while to hang out with their friends, or whatever that may be. But we all embrace it as a family, and we try to teach them the bigger skills of what you need to learn to get through life and understand how you manage your time and how you get everything you need to get accomplished, both professionally and personally. We've definitely taken a look back and making sure that we at least schedule one night a week as a family night where the 5 of us, it's no dance, no hockey, nothing other than possibly watching a movie or just playing board games and having a dinner together. We make sure that we at least do that once a week as we get a lot of other opportunities. If we're traveling for dance or traveling for hockey, we try to take as much opportunities we can while we're at those events to, be able to bond with them and just make sure that we're doing things outside of the studio.
And then studio wise, over the last 4 years, we were not this organized and didn't have this good of a blend. But one of the big things that we talk about, in what is the Gold Alliance and also I'm blanking on our newest name, but Ginger's program for the certification. Those things really taught me how to bring leadership into the school. And so now I have, not everything is falling back on me. I've used those resources and now can step back out and kind of take advantage of our personal time in a way we didn't used to.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's important with putting those boundaries in there, especially because I feel like what I've realized recently is I think we focus a lot on dance teachers and studio owners of being part of everyone else's children's childhood. But I think we also have to remember too, for those of us that have our own children, we only get one shot at our child's childhood, right? That's something that I really have realized in the past few years. It's and most likely I'll have one. So Cole's my one and done. So it's if I miss his first soccer game ever, I'm not getting, there's no makeups, right? It is what it is. So I think that's great that you guys are finding that balance and have that communication between you. Cause I feel like that's super, super important that you guys are on the same page with your kids.
Yeah. And it certainly didn't happen overnight. We had a plan, we had, multi years in the making. So you just kind of chip away at it and get it to a point where everybody's comfortable and, you find what works for you and the family and not necessarily what everyone else is telling you should do. You got to do what is best for you and your business, both personally and professionally. And
you never want your own kids to feel wow, all of mom's dance studio kids seem to be more important than her biological kids. And I truly started to get to that point where it was wow, I'm giving up so many things for my own kids because of the studio. And I get to go around the sun with these guys one time. So I just want to make it a priority.
Yeah. I think it's a great mentality about it for sure. For sure. Does anyone else have anything to add about having that balance with having kids and our unique style that we're in as far as us working in the evenings, them having their activities, anything like that?
Well, our children are grown, but they were a part of it all. And we tried to actually educate them and let them be in on interviews so that they would be good interviewers. We tried to give them a lot of life skills along the way. We also, I hate to use the word, used them a little bit as well, because we would have them, if you can teach our kids, you could teach anybody's kids, was kind of how we would do it. Because when you interview a dance or music teacher, part of your interview with us is we need to see you teach. So, but if you could teach our kids, because teaching your own kids is something. So that we kind of missed once they grew up, but they are still involved in the business, as well as my mother lives with us, and she is 83 and she's going blind and deaf. So she's my other full-time job in the sense of I have to take her to appointments. So we try to have a lot of people call it a rhythm calendar, but like my mom has her own color and our kids have their own color, and like we can't change. Like, I'm sorry, this is on the calendar and this can't be like, and our children are better at saying, we're not talking about the studio. But like if the two of us are together and alone, we can't turn it off, but our kids can definitely get us to turn it off. But if it's a show that, and my daughter lives in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we were short staffed and she drove because I was like, I have all these kids backstage and I know that they're not going to make their quick changes. And so she was like, I'm all in, because it's still like a commitment from your family. Yeah. So, but you definitely have to kind of be rigid with your schedule and treat it. Because like last night, we just went to a student's birthday party because we wanted to be there for our student that really wanted us at their birthday party. But then we were like, we have to leave at 5:00 because we have a family commitment. So you kind of have to be rigid with it.
Right.
That's a great
like
point.
You said, you only get one chance. Was
Yeah,
that Chris?
I said it's a great point, Muffy. You know, we empower our kids as well. You know, when there's events or there's things to do, we empower them to help and work, and you know, it gives them a sense of participation and makes them feel like they're also part of the lifestyle, because they are. And
Right.
you know, we empower them to do that.
Our oldest is now working as a paid intern in the office on Tuesdays, and he loves it. He's like, and he's so impressed. He's like, Mom is gonna pay me to do things she was gonna make me do anyway.
It's on payroll. I made it.
It's cool because now, you know, that's a night of the week that I get to share my life with him and get to see him when I don't usually get to see him during the week. So it's nice for me too.
And then it's also actually like amazing. He gets to see you in your element. And like, that's, if he might not be a dancer, but who knows, you might be planting the seed for him to open up an ice rink and have this incredible entrepreneurial thing going on later on in life.
With us, he was like, he's been there before when he was younger, when he couldn't stay home. And so they had their own room, but this was his first night, like on the clock in capacity. And he was running around with me and we're going up the stairs and he looks at me, he's like, you're like really busy. You do a lot. And I was like, are you new here? Like, what is happening? Like,
new here?
Yeah, I do a lot. Welcome to the family.
That's right. That's so funny. That's awesome though. And that shows him, like, I don't know, you're teaching him a lot of things. Entrepreneurial, all of it, responsibility, you know, the family, what it takes to make, like, I mean, Muffy just said it. It takes a village to make this happen. My mom still works for me. She's been working for me for 14 years. She used to run my desk 5 days a week. She's down to 1 now. She's like, can I retire next year? I'm like, I'll let you know.
I'm like, boundaries that we learn about.
I'll let you know, but no, I mean, my dad is making me, even just this year, my petite jazz, where I want to do like a superstar pop star thing. And I was like, I want a double-decker bus. My dad's like, all right. So like, 70 years old, building me a double-decker bus, and he's like, anything else? And then he said the other day, I need to make this in a month. It would be really good if you can tell me in like July. I'm like, my artistic brain is not working in July. It starts working in September. He's like, tell it to speed up the process. I need more time. I'm like, fair enough. But it's a family affair. It still is, My mom and my dad are very much involved, and everyone knows them at the studio too. They call her Mama G. It's cute.
I want to add something, because I'm sitting here as a growing up a dance teacher's son. And I want to say that when I was growing up, it was a lot of dance. When I got, and that was maybe sometimes something I might resent. When I got older, I realized all the things I learned because of my circumstance. Like for me, never did I think I would go have a real job. I knew entrepreneur right away because my mom ran a studio in the basement of our home. I used to think everybody had a studio in the basement of their home. So it's sort of, it takes a while sometimes for you to realize, or the children to realize, how cool the journey really was and what was set into place along the way that you had no idea was happening. I wouldn't change a thing about growing up in the studio. Okay, I got another question. Hang on. I lost it. Oh, what advice would you offer others
Mm.
or studio owners, men, women who are considering bringing their partners into the business, or somebody who may be opening in the future who wants to make it a partnership with their partner? What's some advice you would offer them? I'm going to start with Tommy and Becca.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, our situation is unique because we met at his mother's dance studio. She owned a studio for 30 years. So I basically met my mother-in-law when I was 13, not knowing she was going to be my mother-in-law. And then that took us to Los Angeles. His brother owned a studio. That took us to New York when he did Broadway. And now we're here. So what advice can we offer? Like I said, our situation was unique because we both knew what we were getting into at the time.
If you love it, do it. If you don't love it, find something that you love.
Yeah.
That'd be my advice.
There you go.
There you go. How about you, Ashley and Chris?
Really embrace the journey. That's, first and foremost is, you have to, like Tommy said, love what you do. And if you embrace the journey and really just communicate, it's about it's honesty and open communication, no judgment. It's a judgment-free zone. We sort of put everything out there, break it down, make sure that we're both on the same page. But it's also, making sure that you understand the plan, each other's roles, your responsibilities, and don't overstep the boundaries. And, really understand that there needs to be somebody essentially calling the shots per se, and the other individual, and this is kind of what works for us. It might not work for everyone, but, at the end of the day, it's Ashley's decision. I'm there to challenge it. But I'm also there to support it as well, and making sure that we're both on the same page with the direction of the dance studio, the direction of our family life, and how it might impact everything. So I'm really a second set of eyes, a second set of, a second brain, just to really challenge everything. And she does the same. We bounce a lot of ideas off each other, but at the end of the day, we're lockstep, making sure we go in the same direction. There's certainly times where, I haven't always been up for a lot of the decisions, but I let her run with it. And more times, often than not, it turns out to be a huge success. I pat her on the back and we keep it moving. So really just open communication, judgment-free, and just making sure that we're sticking to our boundaries.
You hit a key in there that I thought was interesting. And Ashley's laughing, which was, the final decision is hers. I loved when you said that. You have that established right away.
Happy wife, happy life. No, I just honestly think it really has, for me, I'm of the opinion it has very little to do with being a husband and wife per se. I just think if you work with any partner that is truly your best friend, like, this man is my literal best friend. Husband aside, like, I don't want to be going to the beach or doing anything without him. And we have amazing communication as a married couple, but we have amazing communication just as like best friends. And I genuinely contribute that to being in severely toxic relationships prior to our meeting, and us being like, here's all the things we don't want to do. They're not going to work. And we've kind of honored them from like college days on. And we just have good communication, and it just allows us to, put down the boundaries and also help each other. And literally, he is going to be my devil's advocate to anything I do business-wise, which is great because I'm the dreamer of the relationship. And I need someone to be like, love the dream, but let's talk about how it's coming to fruition. And does that dream benefit the business and our family? And so sometimes I'll be like, why are you always peeing in my Cheerios? And he's like, I'm not. I just want to make sure that you've thought about the negative, because I don't. I'm the dreamer. And so it's good to have a voice of reason that brings me down and then can also talk through logistics and we just go from there.
It really comes down to, making sure, letting her know what she needs to hear, not wants to hear.
Absolutely.
And really just laying out the facts and then making the decisions that are best from there going forward.
And I know they come from a place of love. So I feel like if you have someone that you appreciate, I know that his devil advocate is not to be like a negative at me, but truly to be like, have you considered all aspects so you're not disappointed at this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that your respect level for each other is so high that you know that he's coming from a good place. You know she's coming from a good place. There's no attack vibe coming either way. You're both on even playing field. So it's great.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How about you guys, Muffy and Wayne? Tell us some advice.
Oh my goodness. I was listening to everybody talk and I was like, communication is definitely key. We aren't always the best communicators. We're not always on the same page. Like I always say, we're in the same book, but maybe not the same language, just because he is a literal thinker and I'm more the big picture thinker. But he makes really good points and I make good points. It's tricky because you were give somebody advice that was bringing somebody in. And I would have to say from what everybody said too, you want to make sure that it is actually that you love the person that you're going to get. I mean, because I don't know how I personally couldn't do a partnership business with somebody that was just 50-50 split in the money. You know what I mean? I don't know how that works in a real business. It's per se my dad was an attorney and he had partners and they were constantly having disagreements to the direction that they wanted their business to go, where, it's like you said, your family is going in the same direction as your business. So I think you got to start with love and you love what you're doing as well as love each other would be my best advice in the sense of, because at the end of the day, no matter how heated it gets, it's going to end with love, right? That's kind of.
Well, it's just an old saying that I've said plenty of times over the years, but if you do something you love, you don't have to work another day in your life. Okay, well, that's how basically this all came to be in the first place. I love the music. I love playing music. I wanted to teach it and share it with others, and that's where it started. And it moved forward. I don't feel I enjoy coming to work every day, and I'm always wanting to move forward to the next level. And like Muffy said, I'm definitely a dreamer, or I wouldn't have started the business in the first place. And there's plenty of times where she'll tell me something and I'll play devil's advocate. And there's plenty of times I'll go, hey, what if we did this? And Muffy's like, we can't do that. And she'll play devil's advocate. So it's a nice 50-50 type thing that will move forward back and forth. And then sometimes I have ideas that pan out and then work good. And she does the same thing. And then other times we both have ideas that maybe we shouldn't have gone that direction, or this isn't what we want to do. So I think it's just a question of just mutual respect, talking to one another, thinking about everything. But at the end of the day, as he said, it's knowing that she's got my back and she knows I've got her back. And we can definitely, the thing about family is we can fight, but at the end of the day, we still love each other. So that's my take on it.
You guys, this was excellent. I love the conversation. I love the laughs. I love the realness of it. Muffy, you just said something that, sounds mushy, but it's about the love, not only for each other, but what you do together, whatever that is. It doesn't just have to be dance. It's a shared passion, and that passion keeps you locked together to move forward, which is really a cool thing. I feel like, first, I'd like Chris to marry me because I think I could use exactly what his personality is on my side, but I'm not interfering.
We're taking applications, Ree, and you don't have a home.
You're going to be the sister husband, Ree. That's all.
I'll take it.
I'll be the sister husband. You haven't thought of that, have you? I totally lost track of it. Oh, the love. love.
I said it all starts with love, and then we.
Yep.
It's the truth. I think even a studio starts with love. If you don't have the passion, you don't have the drive, you can try as hard as you want. But if people can't feel that vibe and it's not real, it isn't going to work.
What's the point of doing all this if we can't enjoy the journey while we go?
I agree. I wake up every day reminding myself and the whole world to enjoy this journey. Honestly, I feel like in this world that we live in 2024, the first thing we need to do when we wake up in the morning is look around at all the good stuff. Because everywhere else you're going to look is going to be negative stuff. What's being tossed at you all day? Negative. You wake up and you say, I'm going to enjoy this journey. I'm going to enjoy this day because this is good and this is good and this is good. That's whether you have a husband and wife team or not.
Mhm.
That's life. This was, oh, look, Fred Connect just came for a little visit here.
Mhm.
Legend in our field. Good morning, Mr. Fred. I think we're going to end this conversation, but I'm going to have all of you back again because you make me laugh, and I think we need to do that more. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with special guest Stacy Morgan from Australia, talking about
Yay!
dance on both sides of the world. What's different? What do we have in common? Etc. Looking forward to that. Thank you all for being with us, and we'll see you the next time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Bye.
you.